On May 7th, there's a new moon in Taurus, along with Venus, Jupiter, and Uranus. That means half the chart is in Taurus, and Taurus is about manifesting money. So what does that mean for you? That's what we're going to talk about. Hi everyone, I'm Donna Stellhorn, your practical astrologer, and today we are talking about the new moon. It's on May 7th. It is at 18 degrees of Taurus. We're going to do a short overview, and then we're going to go sign by sign. Now, with 3 planets and 2 luminaries in the sign of Taurus for this time, that means there's a great deal of emphasis on money, possessions, self-worth, and a sense of deserving, as well as what you can possess in your life. And so the bottom line is, if you want to manifest more money, this is the time to do it. Now, you don't have to be born under the sign of Taurus to use this energy, because there is Taurus in your chart. Now, Taurus is the master of manifesting, but it's also fixed earth. And so let's talk about what that energy is. Fixed earth is like a mountain, and a mountain doesn't move. So when the mountain wants something, it waits, and it can wait a really long time. And the issue is that it is most comfortable waiting. And so when you are looking at where you can manifest money in your life, one of the issues can be that you get too comfortable, you get too stuck, you become the mountain. And so while you can see what you want, and while you may have the patience to wait for it, in some circumstances where you want it to happen more quickly, then you have to combat that energy of being fixed earth. I've seen some Taurus energy that is willing to wait 1,000 years to get what they want. And they may not feel all that patient during that time, but they are not taking an action to go get what they want. And again, the natural tendency of Taurus is to be the mountain. Now, for this particular new moon, there are planets in other signs that can help us so that we don't become the mountain in this case. And so that is Mars and Mercury are in the sign of Aries, which is great for taking action. Saturn and Neptune are in Pisces, which is wonderful for having a vision of what you want. And Pluto is in Aquarius for making sudden, unexpected changes. So while it's true that Taurus is the master of manifesting, especially material objects and money, the issue becomes that it is more comfortable to wait for whatever it is to come to you. And so wherever Taurus is in your chart, you could find that you are so focused on staying comfortable and staying within the realm that you know, that you don't step out of that comfort zone to go get what you want. And I've heard some people say, I will do it when I feel comfortable, but what we forget is that it's the act of doing it that makes us feel comfortable. The psychologist Marissa Peer talks about how it's necessary for us to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And so as we step out of our comfort zone, what happens is our comfort zone expands. And so what was uncomfortable before now becomes familiar. It's so funny. Sometimes I feel like I'm doing a lot of different things every single day. But when I look back over the course of a year, I see that I didn't do that much that was different. And so it can be a little deceptive when we have the variety in our life of different information and meeting new people and things like that, but we're not necessarily taking different action. There's really only one way that a mountain could become bigger, and that is from within. And that is something that is underneath or inside the mountain expands, and so therefore the mountain gets bigger, therefore the reach is more. Another part of this chart is that there are a lot of semi-sextiles in it, and I've talked about semi-sextiles a couple of times in different videos, but I wanted to elaborate on it a little bit, and that is that a semi-sextile energy is about attracting resources, but they are underdeveloped, that they need more nurturing to make them actually be useful. Unfortunately, with a semi-sextile, sometimes you don't feel like you have the energy to nurture the resources. So it's kind of like having a pack of seeds, but not having the energy to go out and plant them. And while semi-sextiles do have some tension about them, there's still the underlying wish that the seeds are just going to fall onto the ground and sprout on their own. So during this 2-week period, recognize that you're dealing with these two energies. One, that you are the mountain and that you are possibly unwilling to go outside of the comfort zone. This is me as well. And then the second is that we are going to have the resources that we are looking for, but it's going to take a little bit more effort to plant the seeds. That if we just scatter them on the ground, the birds are going to eat them. We're going to get a very small harvest. So allowing things to just happen on their own isn't enough. We have to take some sort of decided action. And as I said before, we do have Mercury and Mars in Aries to help us take that action. If you would like more help with some of this about utilizing energies like this, I do readings. There is a link in the description. And in this video, we are doing tropical Western astrology. It's good to listen to your rising sign or your ascending sign because that's going to give you a more accurate picture of what's happening for you. If you don't know your rising sign, I can send you a PDF of your chart. There's a link in the description. I also have a video course called Finding the Hidden Money in Your Chart. This is a Western astrology course for people who want to learn a little bit more about their chart, specifically about the different sources that money can come in and how to accumulate money. And there's a link in the description. Okay, let's go sign by sign. Okay, Aries, your chart is always so straightforward because all of these money planets in Taurus fall in your house of money. I mean, so it's very much opportunities to make money are right here. And that means because there are 3 planets and 2 luminaries that you have potentially 5 different sources of money. And all of these are focused on connecting with people out in the world. And so that might mean that you have to get out of your comfort zone and sell something, or if you're looking for a job, sell yourself. You may have to promote yourself to your manager or your coworkers. You may have to do things to promote yourself to new people, potential clients or customers. But that is the focus for you now, is to start looking at all of the different sources of money that can come into your life and focus on, of course, things that are in your control first and, start to brainstorm some of these ideas or go out on ChatGPT and say, give me 50 different ways of making money. But look for different possibilities for yourself because now is the time to start planting these seeds. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Mars is making a semi-square to the Sun. That means that there is a bit of tension, a little bit more tension between you and the idea of meeting someone new. And that could make it very difficult at this time. If the person is late or if you hit traffic and you're late, tensions could flare. And so you may want to wait for a first date outside this 2-week period just to make things smoother. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Venus is making a semi-sextile to Mars. And we talked in the opening about the semi-sextile as being this idea that you have the resources but may not feel the energy to activate those, or to, that you have the packet of seeds, but you feel like you're too tired to actually go plant. And so in a love relationship, that can mean that you know what you should do that's going to make your partner feel fantastic, but, you've been in this relationship for a long time, and so maybe you're in a bit of a routine. And so this says that can be causing some friction right now. And so if you make that little bit of an effort, the garden will flourish. But, again, this is one of those things where this energy will line up better in the future. But right now you have this opportunity. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Venus, which is in your house of money. And as I said in the opening, you have so many opportunities for money right now. But the interesting thing is when we look out at that house of other people and who you're bringing into your life, it is almost necessary for you to let go of some of the prospects so that you have time and energy for something new. And so looking at the projects that you're working on, if you've been dragging your feet on a project, if you've been putting energy into it and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere, consider letting go of something so that you have the time and energy to focus on something else. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, there's no aspect between Venus and Pluto, but there is a semi-sextile between Venus and Mars. So that means that you have this potential, there's an opportunity here, but you need to take some sort of action to get that seed planted. And so that might mean that, maybe your company does offer a 401k program, but you haven't investigated it, or that there are some different investments that you could do that have lower fees, and you just need to do those. Or maybe some update is needed on your website to make it more efficient, to tell people about your products. So this is something to consider, is what are the small things that you can do that will get those seeds planted. And then when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be like a paycheck, even though Venus is not making an aspect with Uranus, it is making a sextile to the co-ruler Saturn. That is one of the nicest opportunities we've seen for you in a while about asking for a raise or higher commission or getting a bonus. So this 2-week period could be very lucrative for you, especially if you are looking for a new job, for negotiating for a higher salary or a new position in your current job and getting more money. Okay, Taurus, this, of course, is your new moon, which starts your new lunar year. So that's a 12-month cycle. And so the things that you want to do during this 2-week period, and including it, actually the entire month, is to do as many new things as possible. And I know that can be challenging for Taurus because your focus is often on creating a strong process or finishing things. And oftentimes a lot of people will give you the things that they've been doing that they can't finish so that you will finish them. And that means that you don't often have the time or even the inclination to start a lot of new things. And so take baby steps. I mean, even if you can start some small new things, like even just changing your toothpaste, or wear different clothes, or do something, take a different route to work. Doing even small changes plant the seeds for something better in the future. Your sign is about manifesting, and specifically manifesting money. One of the things that I find with strong Taurus energy is that you sometimes maybe have trouble deciding what it is that you want, or the thing that you want, you know what it is, but you're not taking a single step towards it. You are waiting for it to come to you. And when I think about Taurus, like the superpower that Taurus really wants is telekinesis, so that the beverage will come to them, or the snack will come to them, or getting one of those little machines like they have on Star Trek that you just say what it is and it materializes in front of you. So this is, if Taurus can take the step forward towards it, you then, instead of being the mountain, can move mountains and make things happen. So keep that in mind as you look at your list of things to do about anything with your business or your career, things that would generate money for you. Look at and take one small step towards it, and that can really get the momentum going. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, there's no aspect going on with Mercury and Venus, but you have a very strong house of relationships. What I think is going on here is, if you're looking for love, you could meet someone who is interested in you, but you feel that you're not sure. or you are not even showing up for the date because you got busy. So there is some possibilities here, but it's difficult because the energy is not lined up. And so you may need someone else in your life to say, hey, your date is in 10 minutes. Are you going to get there? Or where you hear from somebody else that they really are interested, and then you can say, okay, yes, I'd like to go out with you. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Venus is not making an aspect with Pluto, but it is making a semi-sextile to Mars. And I talked about the semi-sextile at the beginning, about it being this set of resources that you have, but that they need more nurturing. They need a little bit of, if we think of it as the seed, it needs the earth and the water and the sunshine, and that takes a little bit of effort. And so putting a little bit of effort into your love life right now can really bring a bountiful harvest. And so, think about what your partner is looking for and what they need, and give a little bit of that, and you could be very, very happy over this 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to your money, you are pulling money from Mercury, which is in this house of spirituality and in Aries of action. So when it comes to manifesting money, action is necessary, and you may want to start with something that's spiritual. And so that could be affirmations or doing some feng shui, shake out your welcome mat, place some coins in the windowsill or things like that, and do that part first, then take the action of picking up the phone and calling someone, or sending off the email, or sending off the proposal or things like that. So take the couple of steps so that you can manifest this through both your focus on a spiritual level as well as in the physical world. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, Mercury's making a semi-sextile to Jupiter. I did tell you there's a lot of semi-sextiles in this chart. And so that means that to make more money in these areas, that you have to give it a little bit of love, a little bit of nurturing. And so that might mean in your investments, perhaps there is some sort of diversification you need to do, or maybe switching to a different broker, you get a little better fee schedule. Maybe when it comes to money from your employer, maybe they have a 401k match that you're not maximizing. So there are some money-making opportunities for that. Business income also, maybe there are some changes you want to do to your sales pitch or to the product advertising and things like that. So small changes can make a big difference. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, there is no aspect going on between Mercury and Neptune, but you do still have that semi-sextile between Mercury and Jupiter. The interesting thing is because Mercury is in a hidden house, it will be quite necessary for you to explain to your supervisor what it is that you've been doing. We'll list how you've been productive and how that has contributed to the success of the company. Make sure, if you are looking for a job, that your resume is seen, and that could mean that you have to send it multiple times, that you have to follow up if it's possible to say, did you get my resume? To send them a thank you note, things like that. So to do those extra steps, because Mercury's a little bit hidden right now. Okay, Gemini, the interesting thing about this strong Taurus energy is that when we look at the wheel, the Taurus is right before your sign, which means that you have already passed through Taurus energy to get to Gemini. That means it's already a path you've traveled. So therefore, you know how to do this. You know how to sit and wait for things. You know how to manifest. You know how to focus on what it is you want. And now, being the Gemini energy, now it's about, okay, what do I do? What sort of action do I take to manifest this? That's what you are working on and what you are actually inherently good at. So when you are looking at the things that you can do to manifest money, think to yourself, okay, what are the obvious things that I'm missing? And once you get it down to what it is, which oftentimes is just go get a customer and then rinse and repeat, right? To get another customer and another customer. That might mean if you're making calls that you make a lot more calls. If you're making videos, you make a lot more videos. That, and doing this repetitive action, which again is very Gemini, that is the secret to activating the energy that you already understand. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Venus is not making an aspect with Mercury. And the interesting thing is, because you've got a lot in your house of the future, you've got a lot in that fourth quadrant. And by the way, I did do a video on the different quadrants. I did it a while back. I will try and remember to put a link in the description for that playlist. But this, with that and the South Node in that house of love and fun, it really says let go of a past person so that you can welcome in the new person. So think to yourself, and you might say, yeah, I'm not holding on to anyone, but maybe you're holding on to a memory or an expectation or a little bit of hurt or something like that. And if you can let that go, then it clears the path for somebody new. So during this 2-week period, it's difficult to meet someone for a love relationship until you do that. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Jupiter is making a semi-sextile to Mercury. And as I said at the opening, there's a ton of semi-sextiles going on in this chart. And that is that there are resources here. The two of you can have a better relationship, but little things need to be nurtured. And so you already know what it is that your partner wants, but you've been busy and so moving from thing to thing so quickly, but it's time to slow down just for a little bit, and Taurus energy can help with the slowdown. If you slow down a little bit, pay attention to your partner, you can really plant some good seeds for a more fulfilling relationship in the future. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that moon that is in Taurus, and it is in that house of subconscious thought. And that can be that there are some subconscious limiting beliefs or some inherent stubbornness that you need to get past so that you can open up some possibilities for money. And because it is in this house of areas where you have passed through already, that's why we consider this more of the subconscious. This is a time where you might consider doing something like tapping or hypnosis or EMDR, some sort of modality where you can talk to your subconscious to help you let go of stubbornness or some sort of limiting belief to help you then embrace the new opportunities. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, the moon's making a sextile to Saturn. That is a great opportunity to make more money in these areas. That means the opportunity is going to be there, and there is the amount of energy that you need to go get that opportunity. So a sextile is kind of interesting. A sextile energy is like your friend needs a wedding cake, and so you call up the bakery, you order the cake, you drive over to the bakery, they give you the cake, you get it to the wedding, and it's perfect. But you had to do all of those steps, and that's what's necessary here if you want to make more money through business or investments. Now, when it comes to money from your career, so that's like a paycheck, you have a really strong energy in this area, but the moon's making a semi-square to Mars. So there is strong energy, but it's a little combative, or there's high tension in this energy. And so you're going to have to walk a little bit softly here. And that may be that you are due for a raise, but there are some layoffs, or that you know that there's a new position that you want, but you are challenged because other people want it too. And so it's a little bit of a battle to get this. And if you don't want to do a battle right now, you may want to wait until this energy lines up in the future. So, but if you are already in the battle, like you are looking for a new job or you're already discussing this, then you need to go in full force and say, this is why I deserve this. Make sure that they understand how you've contributed to the company's well-being, etc. That's what's going to help you win. Okay, Cancer. This Taurus energy is actually quite harmonious with your own because you're water and Taurus is earth. And so when water is poured on earth, then the garden grows. So in the system of elements, the earth represents all the practical things that we do, and water is emotion. And so putting emotion or the need behind something causes the motivation to get the things done. And that is, like, I need a house for my family, so therefore I'm going to go and find this job. Or, I need to feed the kids, or I need to feed myself. That need is what moves you forward. And it can be done from a very positive standpoint, like, I want to grow my bank account and I need to do that to, make myself feel good. Or it can be done from a negative standpoint, which is, if I don't do this, then I starve, and you can choose which one. I think it's more enjoyable to do life from the positive, but there's many examples in the world where people have used a negative emotion to go out and manifest a lot. But recognize you do need that combination. You need the emotion with that action, and that's what creates the prosperity. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, the moon's not making an aspect with Pluto. However, it is making a semi-square to Mars. I have to check. Yes, I am correct. So what that means, sorry, now I have the bad news. It's actually kind of difficult right now to meet someone for a love relationship, unless you want one of those relationships that you see in the movies where there's a great deal of tension between the two people, but then later they find that they're very much like each other, and so then they get together. But it's kind of like you meet someone and they rub you the wrong way, but maybe that's interesting. So if that's not the type of relationship that you're looking for, you may want to wait outside this 2-week period for your first date. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, the moon's making a nice sextile to Saturn. That is that you have an opportunity to come together to work on something as a couple, and that really strengthens the relationship. And this may be something to do with traveling, or you might be doing something in a group, or you may be doing something for your future. But as you work together on something, you have more harmony in the relationship, and you strengthen the bond. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from the sun in Taurus, surrounded by all that Taurus energy. And it's interesting because how this is going to manifest, I think, is you're going to see stubbornness and people waiting too long in everybody you know. You're going to see it around you, as those people are your mirror right now. So think about your friends, think about the people that you hang out with at work, think about the people that you know and who's stuck. Think about who is has an opportunity right in front of them and they're not even reaching for it. And then ask yourself, okay, how am I doing that as well? So that's how you're going to spot where you're stuck. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, the sun's making a conjunction to Uranus. This is this big energy that we've been talking about for the last few days, which is that Jupiter made a conjunction with Uranus. Jupiter is the planet of expansion and going overboard, and Uranus is like sudden changes. And then here comes the sun. So you have an extraordinary opportunity that is around you. And so this may be through someone you know, or maybe something you heard on YouTube, but there is an idea here that could take you in a whole new direction. If you feel like, I don't know what you're talking about, I don't see it, remember what I said, there's a mirror somewhere in your life of somebody who's doing this. And when you find that person and say, this person is completely stuck, then pull out the mirror and look at yourself, because that's what the universe is showing you. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that's like a paycheck, it's really interesting mixed energy right now, because there's no aspect going on between Sun and Venus, and that's because the Sun has moved away from Venus, but the house has 5 planets in it. So that can be that maybe there is a lot of turmoil going on at your job right now, and this is just not the right time to ask. Perhaps it is that there was an opportunity to ask, but now your supervisor is out on leave or something, and they're gone for this 2-week period. It's possible that You need to trust your sense that if it feels like the time, then go ahead and plant the seed. But if it feels, like if you see your boss and they look like they, just lost $1 million, then you just say, no, I'll talk to you later, and you just give them a wide berth. So I think that you're going to have to trust your instincts on this, because you don't have a clear path for, I can't say to you, this is the time. You just show a lot of volatility in this area. Okay, Leo. The energy of Taurus with Leo can be a little challenging because, as we talked about in the opening, Taurus is fixed earth and you are fixed fire, and that's a lot of fixed. And so one of the things that gets overemphasized is the not taking of action. And so oftentimes with Leo energy, I hear that, that I want to get appreciated for what I'm doing, and that appreciation can come through words or through payment. And yet when we talk about, well, why don't you ask for the appreciation? Why don't you ask for this? The answer is, well, that kind of defeats the purpose. Then they're not really appreciating me if I have to ask. And so that sort of fixed energy is what can hold you back right now from this fabulous opportunity. So, be aware that asking for what it is that you want could be the step that you need to take. And so, that's where the challenge is it's just so much fixed energy right now, and you don't want to miss this opportunity. The other thing that can happen when we get this combination is that you have started the project and now you are waiting for the results of that project instead of moving on to the next thing. And so again, this is fixed energy, which says, all right, this is the thing I'm going to begin, and so then I'm going to see it all the way through. So right now, to combat that, consider, even if you have some irons in the fire, if you are waiting for someone else to respond or for the money to come in, try to work on something else in the meantime. I think it was Alex Hormozy who said that we can all be patient. It is just a matter of thinking what we're going to do in the meantime. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, the sun is not making an aspect with Jupiter, but it will. So the sun is going to catch up to Jupiter, and so you're going to see that there is an opportunity to come together. It may be outside this 2-week period. So if you have been looking for love or trying to get a first date together, it may not come together right now. Again, it might be outside the 2-week period, but you are getting closer to finding someone. So you want to put in the effort to do it, because it is getting better and better. It's getting closer. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, the sun is making a conjunction with Uranus that was just sitting with Jupiter for that big Jupiter-Uranus conjunction that we had a couple of days ago. And so, and I'm saying a couple of days ago, that was April 20. So if you're listening to this on May 7th, it was 2 weeks ago. So, but the issue here is that this is extremely volatile energy, because Jupiter expands things and Uranus can take it in any direction. So the thing to be aware of is that what you're doing with your partner could really, really work or really not work. And so, you know this person, you've been in a relationship with them for however long. So recognize if you see them with a short fuse, then don't walk around lighting their fuse, So or if you see that you have an opportunity to strengthen this relationship, then by all means, get in there and do that. So it's just right now there's quite volatile energy, so you kind of want to walk softly around your partner. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Mercury, which is right at the top of your chart. And what Mercury is saying is that you may have some money-making ideas, but you're not sure where to start. And this is to break it down to find the very first thing that you do. Because this is Mercury in Aries, and so Aries wants to start something. And so oftentimes I see people that have great ideas, but the idea sits on the side because they haven't taken the first steps. So sit for a moment and think, what is the very first step I should do? And oftentimes with a new business, it is just to go get a customer, because that first customer is going to tell you whether you have good marketing, if your price is right, did they want to come through you directly? Did they want to come through a website? Are they interested in a course or a one-on-one? Like, thinking about those things is hard, but when you have an actual person in front of you, then you can find out that information. So this is to get started on the money-making thing, find the first step. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, Mercury's not making an aspect with Neptune, but it's making a semi-sextile to Jupiter. So we talked about the semi-sextiles in the opening as this energy of you have the resources, but they need a little bit of love and nurturing to get going. And so that is to, look at the things that are bringing you in money in these either passive sources or business sources and say, what needs the love right now? What, open your statements and look and see if you need to call your broker and move things around a little bit, maybe something needs to be sold, or maybe there's an opportunity to buy something. And the same with your business, opening up your website and seeing, does this still work? Does it still flow? Are there pages with broken links and things like that? A little bit of love here. And I know, again, with all that Taurus energy, it's hard to get the momentum going to do it, or if you already have so many projects on your plate, it's hard to get the extra energy to do this, but this is what to do to get more money. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that's like a paycheck, you're pulling energy from that Mercury, and so this is to go in more as the investigative journalist to find out what your boss would think you would need to do to get the raise. Instead of asking for the raise, it is more about investigating what they think the qualifications would be, or what do they need you to do, or what does the company think that you should do. So this is about finding out the information before you pursue it, and then you are well armed to get what you want. Okay, Virgo. This Taurus energy is very harmonious with your own because you're both earth signs, so you're both inherently practical. And while Taurus has an ability to both see what it wants and to manifest it, to pull it to them, you have the ability to come up with a plan to go and get it, which is fantastic. You're great at processes and figuring out the best method to get something done. So that's a great combination. Where you can get a little bit bogged down is either you get stuck in all the details. So you think of a money-making way to make more money, and then you think, oh my gosh, this is going to take so much time and effort, the list is so long. Or you think, well, I would like to go start a business, so first I have to go get a business degree, and you're taking the long way around things. The other thing that can happen, so let me go back and say one of your skills is the kind of A/B testing, through trial and error, you figure out the best thing to do. But the problem is you hate the error part. And so the drive for perfection can cause you to procrastinate. You can say, well, I want this perfect. I want this sales letter perfect before I send it out. I want to make sure I make the perfect investments, that I never lose money. So therefore, you don't make the investment at all. So that's where you can get a little bogged down in this time of so many opportunities. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Mercury's making a semi-sextile to Saturn. Now, in the beginning of this video, I talked about the semi-sextile and how it can feel like you have the resources, but you don't have the energy to nurture those resources into what you want. And so in a situation like this, when we're talking about new love, this is that there are opportunities out there, but you can't seem to get out the door. This is that, there are places where you can meet people. There are meetup groups and hiking groups and all types of social get-togethers in your community. And yet it's just hard to get out the door. And so that's the hurdle that you need to get over, because it's a semi-sextile. When you put a little bit of effort into it, that's when the garden can grow. And then when it comes to existing love relationships, even though Mercury's not making an aspect with Neptune, Mercury's making a semi-sextile to Jupiter. I told you there were a lot of semi-sextiles in this chart. And so that is that the two of you have this relationship. It's working where it's working, but it needs some love. It needs some nurturing. And when you do that, that's where the garden can flourish. So you know your partner, you know the things that they like and what they want. And so give a little bit of that and you can really strengthen this relationship. You can, find a point where you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can just give a little bit with that semi-sextile and then something grows. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Venus, which is in Taurus, along with everything else that's in Taurus. So such a big opportunity now. And this is really focused on the knowledge. That is that if you feel like you have an idea but you don't know how to do it, then you find the information that you need to get that done. And, at this point, Google can be your friends because, you can put in that question and you will find the articles and the videos and all that take you step by step through the process. And so this is to say, like, you have to kind of give yourself a mini education about it. Now, earlier I said, it's not necessary to go get a whole business degree if you're just starting a business. So in this case too, it's not necessary that you read the entire dictionary to find one word. So you want to focus specifically on the question. And sometimes that's the hardest part about the whole process. I know sometimes I'm looking for something, some sort of way to do Photoshop or something, and I don't quite know the term and I have to kind of dance around it, and I finally find like it's a mask or, it's a transparency or something like that. Once I get the right word, then all the information is there. So if you have searched and you haven't found the answer, look at maybe trying some different angles at it. Again, this is something that Virgo does well, is where you take a process and you perfect it. And so asking the right question gets you the answer. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, you have a lot of activity going on in that house. Mars and Mercury are there. Venus is making a semi-sextile to Mars. So it is necessary for you to do a lot of little things to get things going. So expect some focus in that area. And because these are the Aries planets, you have to take very timely action. So opportunities are there, but you won't have the whole 2 weeks. You'll need to take the action when you hear about it in a timely manner so that you can take hold of those opportunities. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that's like a paycheck, Venus is not making an aspect with the moon. The moon has passed Venus. It's gone on. Now, they are still in the same sign, and so there is still some residual energy, but it's not very strong. And so it may be that you have planted a seed and now like your supervisor's on vacation, or maybe because of ups and downs in the economy, which we can get in a dragon year like this, that currently there's a kind of a downward trend happening. And so therefore, even though you planted the seed before, it's not quite time to ask about it right now. And so you want to look at the timing of this, and you will be able to time it correctly, but it is going to be outside this 2-week period. Okay, Libra, the interesting thing about all of this Taurus energy for you is Libra and Taurus are very different signs, but they're both ruled by Venus. And so this is kind of like having a cousin who's from another country, who speaks a different language. Like, you're so different, but you're really related. And so Taurus is extremely focused and can be very fixed, and it can be 100% heading in a direction, whereas Libra wants balance. And that can be work-life balance, or I'm going to do a little bit of this project and a little bit of that project, and always looking to have those scales even. And so But because they're both ruled by Venus, you can go access that Taurus energy and try it out. And that's what I would recommend at this time, is maybe take this 2 weeks and allow yourself to be a little bit out of balance by completely focusing on either the financial things that you're going for, the project that you're working on, or whatever it is that you're trying to finish, to really go for it, even if that does make the scales out of balance. And then outside the 2 week period, then you can say, okay, I'm going to now have some time off and feel like I'm myself again. So this is just an opportunity for you to try it out. You might, if you can't do it for the whole 2 weeks, even just saying, okay, I'm going to spend the entire day working on my business or working on this financial opportunity, just to try that out. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Venus is not making an aspect with Uranus, but it is making a sextile to the co-ruler Saturn. Now, Saturn, of course, has been slowly going through your house of relationships and health and well-being. So that means that you could possibly meet someone through work or through something you do in your daily routines. So that is like at the gym or your hiking group, or something that you do every day that can bring you together with someone for a love relationship now. And this is a sextile. This is one of the best aspects we got this whole chart. So therefore, this is a time to look around and see if there's someone that you see on a regular basis. Maybe it's time to ask them out. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Venus is making a semi-sextile to Mars, and you have a lot of energy in that house. And that means that you may start doing some things to nurture the relationship. Remember what I said at the beginning of this video about semi-sextiles being you have the resources, but you may not have the energy to nurture it. So you might be saying, okay, I have to nurture this along. But what you're going to find is that your partner says, why haven't you been doing this? So it can really escalate very quickly. And so you may want to be ready to sit down and really discuss this and say, I've been busy, you've been busy, we can do this together. So, but you might find that if you do something, it's kind of like you plant one seed and they say, plant the whole North 40. And you're like, that's a lot of acres. And that's the kind of energy that I'm seeing here for you. And so just recognize that could happen. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from that Pluto, which is in your house of risk-taking, and the Mars, which is smack dab in that house of relationships, partnerships, and collaborations. And so this is so directly says that to make more money, you go talk to more people, you take the risk, and you knock on some doors, you make some calls, you reach out to people, and maybe you just start with, hey, do you know someone who would be interested in my products or services? You start that way. But you need to connect with others, because that opens up this wealth of opportunities. And it's such a big world. There's so many people. And when you start this process rolling, then it can start to work on its own. But that will be outside this 2 week period. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, Venus is not making an aspect with Pluto, but it is making a semi-sextile to Mars. And so yet another semi-sextile. Here is the garden. You have the seeds, but you must plant the seeds. That is, you have to go through your investment statements. You have to look at your website. If you own a business, you need to talk to the customers and find a systematic way to answer everybody's questions and to follow up with people. All of these little things that take a lot of energy, yes, and you may not feel like you have the energy right now because you are very busy or you just don't have the energy, but that's the key right now. And you have 3 planets and 2 luminaries in this house. That is a ton of financial opportunity right now. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be like a paycheck, there's no aspect going on between the Sun and Pluto, but there is a semi-square between Sun and Mars. That is a rather combative energy, and that means that right now is probably not the best time to approach your supervisor about a raise or getting a higher commission rate or anything like that. The energy is too volatile. It's It may be something where the company's not doing so well right now, or that there are changes in personnel or things like that. If you are, though, already in negotiations, if you are looking for a new job, or you already started the negotiations, then you have to do the opposite. You have to go in very focused, very forcefully to say, this is what I want, this is what I deserve, etc., because you need then to take control of this energy. But if you're just starting that conversation, do it outside this 2-week period. Okay, Scorpio, all of this Taurus energy is exactly opposite your sign. So there is this connection, and basically all of the stuff that was happening very recently with Jupiter conjunct Uranus, that was opposite your sign too. So you got the brunt of that just as much as Taurus did. So there's been a lot of changes and things like that. And one of the things that Scorpio really likes, because you are fixed water, is you like to know that you are safe, that things are not going to change. And so the thing that happens when you have a lot of Taurus energy that you can access is that you want to not focus on the fact that you're both fixed, because that can make you stuck, but to focus on this idea that Taurus is earth and you are water. And when we put water with earth, we do get the garden. So you can really manifest quite a lot starting in this 2-week period. But the challenge is you don't like to move forward until you know that you are safe. And Taurus doesn't want to move at all. And so therefore, it makes it difficult for you to take the actions necessary to make things happen. You have that pack of seeds, you have this garden that you want to plant, and you're the water that's going to feed and nourish these seeds. So you have everything that you need, but that's the hesitation, is if you stay in that fixed energy of I'm not going to move until I know that I'm going to do everything correctly, or that nothing is going to hurt me when I do this, then you can miss this opportunity. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Neptune's making an out-of-sign sextile to Pluto, and the house of relationships is lit up. This is a really good time to have a first date, let somebody fix you up on a date, go find a matchmaker, do a profile online, go to a dating site, go to something social. You could really meet someone during this 2-week period. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Venus is not making an aspect with Pluto, but Venus is making a semi-sextile with Mars. Now, when we talked in the beginning about the semi-sextile, that is that you do have the resources, but you may not feel the energy to follow through on it. And here's where you could really strengthen your love relationship now, is to muster that energy to do some little things for your partner that you know that they like, and that would really go a long way to strengthen this relationship. Because maybe they're overly stressed right now, maybe they're overly busy, and you probably are as well. But if you can make that extra effort right now, it'll go a very long way to helping strengthen your love relationship. Now, when it comes to your money, you pull money from that Jupiter, which was just doing that conjunction with Uranus. So it is quite possible that you have either had the idea of the century about what it is that you want to do and how you can make money, or that there has been some disruption in your money and your income sources or revenue sources. And that disruption can mean that new opportunities are out there, that it's necessary for you to go a new direction, this is the type of thing that where the universe does close a door but opens another one, or may even open several doors. So it's very important not to be focused on what has been lost or what has changed, but to focus on something that could be new and possibilities. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, Mercury is making a semi-sextile to Jupiter. So again, we have that semi-sextile energy, which is that you've got the seeds, but it feels like so much effort to go and plant them. And that is, you've got maybe some investments, but it's so much trouble to open up those statements. You have opportunities to get more money through your job. Maybe they have a stock purchase program. Maybe they have a 401k thing, but you haven't gone through HR to look at it. This is a time to go in and make that effort. And when you do, that's when things can flourish. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be like a paycheck, you also do that Mercury semi-sextile Jupiter, but you are one of the few signs that actually show some possibilities of getting a raise this time. Again, this is where there is some apathy or some low energy, and maybe it's not on your side. Maybe this is that the boss knows they need to set up the meeting, but they're quite busy, so they're not, doing the steps necessary. And so you want to reduce as much friction for them as possible, make it easy for them to find you, to talk to you about this, see how you can kind of grease the wheels here. And I think that you could make more money, and that can start this 2-week period. Okay, Sagittarius, of all of the signs of the 12 zodiac, Taurus is probably the most alien to you. You are this free-thinking, adventurous, you want to go explore the world. Taurus is a mountain. And so you circle the globe, the mountain is still there. You go to school, you go start a business, the mountain is still there. This is just something that it may be hard to wrap your mind around, this idea of this fixed nature. But I think that you could benefit if you decide to be the mountain explorer. If you decide to say, I wonder what it would be like to be completely focused and fixated on one goal for a 2-week period, and to see if you can put all of your energy into the one thing. Maybe it's finishing your novel, or launching your business, or focusing on something else that's going to bring you money, finishing projects at work or things like that. But to really put yourself in that mindset of, I am going to explore this one mountain completely. And from every side and every angle. That can also mean that you are saying to yourself, okay, I want to finish the novel, and maybe you're writing from start to finish. Maybe you need to start writing from the end towards the beginning. If you're doing a business, maybe if you feel stuck about getting the website done, maybe skip doing a website and just have an Instagram page or a Facebook page. So thinking those ways are different ways of exploring the mountain. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Mars is not making an aspect with Jupiter. It's interesting because you have a very strong house of fun and, romance, but there's nothing going on above the horizon. So you're at the fun party, but the person you're supposed to meet, they didn't show up. You are, going to the party, but they went to work. So you seem to be like two boats missing each other in the darkness here. So I think that you just need to wait. These energies will line up in the future, but during this 2-week period, it's very challenging to meet someone for a love relationship. So just go have a good time, meet some friends, and then you may circle back and meet the same person again, but this time with new eyes. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Mercury is making a semi-sextile to Jupiter. Now, I talked about the semi-sextile at the beginning, and that energy of that you have the resources, but you may not have the energy to nurture those resources into what it is that you want, is very important right now in your love relationship, to nurture the relationship. And that's by doing some small things that you know that your partner loves. Maybe they love it when you fill up the dishwasher or empty the dishwasher or change the toilet paper roll or something like that. Doing those small things now could really help. That's the thing that can really help the relationship blossom. Now, when it comes to your money, you pull money from that Saturn, which is making the really only good aspects in this whole chart, which is the sextile to the new moon. And so the new moon, which is sitting in that house of getting things done on a daily basis, says, take the things that you need to do and get them into your schedule. That is, if you are trying to get a business going, then figure out what it is, the steps that you need to do, and then put one of those steps in today's schedule and then the next one in tomorrow's, and so forth. As you put these into your daily life, that's when the things start to manifest. That's when the money starts to happen. You already have the good ideas. Maybe you have all the education you need. Maybe you have all the resources that you need. Now you just need to implement the plan. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, you're doing that sextile. That's the moon sextile Saturn. So opportunities galore. So a sextile energy is an energy where you do have to take a little action, but it's much easier than that semi-sextile that we were talking about before. So a sextile is like, if your friend needs a wedding cake, you call up the bakery, you order the cake, you drive to the bakery, you get the cake, you pay for it, you put it in the car, you get it to the wedding. It's beautiful and everybody's happy. All of those steps that you had to take were very important. They had to happen, but you had success. And so that's how you make the money here is, the customer calls, you fill the order, and then the money comes. And so it is that you take the steps, the right action, and then you make the money. And then when it comes to money derived from career, so that's like a paycheck, Venus is making a sextile to Saturn. So you have another sextile opportunity, which is fantastic. You're one of the few signs that had a good energy when it came to money derived from career, which kind of says that the economy is probably not doing too well when you're listening to this video, but for you, it is okay. You are in a place where maybe you're valuable or that you are essential, or there is something going on where you could manifest more money in your career through getting more hours or getting an increase in your paycheck or getting more commission. So there is an opportunity. You still have to take the action. So, and there's a little tiny bit of energy here. It's just starting, a little bit of a seed that you may have to leave your current position to take a different position, to take on new duties, or to get a different job to get that more money. But there's just a little hint of that right now. You may see that more as a trend in your life coming up, but right now just keep that in mind as you move forward. Okay, Capricorn, all of this Taurus energy is very harmonious with your sign because you're both earth signs, but instead of being fixed, you're cardinal, and cardinal means you take action. And so where Taurus is a mountain and doesn't move, you're kind of like an avalanche, like everything's moving all the time. Or you might see yourself as like the construction crew who's putting one brick on top of the other until the skyscraper is built. So you're great at the action. And here we have like all of this fertile land right now. Like we have a mountain of fertile land that you can then use to build whatever it is that you want. So this is your time to take a lot of action because there's so many opportunities for you. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Venus is making a sextile to Saturn, plus you have 3 planets and 2 luminaries in that house. So this is such an extraordinary time for you to be out there meeting new people, or if you have a matchmaker, to go on some dates. If your friends want to fix you up, go on those dates. Like, be out there. If you want to meet someone new, don't hide at home. This is a great time for you to meet somebody for a love relationship. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, the moon's making a sextile to Saturn. So you have another sextile, which is amazing. And so you have really good energy and that can mean that you have more harmony in the relationship, especially when you work together on a project. You have a lot of energy around children and fertility right now. So that can be something if you're wanting to expand the family, or maybe you're getting a puppy. But if you work on something together, you can strengthen the love relationship that you have. Now, when it comes to money derived from business or from investments, the sun's making a conjunction to Uranus. You have really strong opportunities here to make money, not just more money than usual, but money from new sources. Now, the interesting thing is the house of risk-taking, which is the one we just talked about, that's also romance, that one is very strong right now. So when it comes to risk-taking, that is to step out of the comfort zone, to go beyond. Now, that's where your conservative nature, and I mean conservative in the idea of being prudent, can hold you back a little bit, where Capricorn kind of wants to make sure that they do it right, that everybody approves, that your reputation won't be harmed in any way. So you can hold yourself back from that standpoint. If that was how you're building the building, right, that to me feels like you are building a strong foundation, and that means you can build a very tall building. That's fantastic. On the other hand, if you are spending so much time on the foundation of something that the building never gets built, that is not so good. So you do need to find the balance of that energy. So you have extraordinary opportunities right now, but it is going to be a step outside of your comfort zone, and you may want to take it. Okay, when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be like a paycheck, Mars is making a semi-square to Uranus, and Saturn's making a semi-square to Pluto. Basically, you have two semi-squares. And a semi-square is an aspect that has a lot of friction with it. That means that to get a raise at this time, you basically have to jump over some big hurdles. I mean, there's probably hurdles and sharks. You know, it'd be hurdles that are spiky with sharks. I mean, it's too much to try to do right now. And yet you may feel very focused on this, that this was the time and you're supposed to do the meeting and all of that. So you may just want to move this meeting outside this 2-week period. It is also possible that you started talking about this and now business is taking a slide downward, as we tend to do ups and downs in a dragon year. And so that we could be in a down period at this time. And so that could, you know, just sour your boss on the whole idea. So then just don't bring it up, you know. So I think the energy is a little too, there's too much friction to have a smooth outcome if you're asking for a raise at this time. So I would just wait. Okay, Aquarius, when we look at this Taurus energy, the interesting thing is that this is actually a little bit combative between the two signs. And that is that you have elements that are not harmonious, that the element of Taurus is earth and you are air, you know, and like, so you're like wind, you know, and so you hit the mountain and the mountain doesn't move, and that can be, I think, annoying, right? It stays the same. And whereas you want something different, you get bored, you want to try new things, you want to explore what's new and what's different. But you are also fixed, so you keep hitting the mountain and the mountain does not move. And so there can be this sense of frustration of you think to yourself, all right, these are these money-making opportunities out there, but they're boring. I've tried them. I did them once. They didn't work. And so you look again and again for something new and something different. And so every new shiny thing, you throw yourself into it with such gusto, but then you get to that same place again where you say, that's it, I'm bored, it's stale, it's old, I don't want to do this anymore. And that's you just keep hitting that mountain. And if you could shift this to more embrace the mountain, like encircle the mountain, spin around the mountain and say, I'm going to try it from this angle, I'm going to try it from this angle, I'm going to try it from this angle, but you focus on doing the same thing, then you can make some real progress. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Mercury's making a semi-sextile to Uranus. I talked about the semi-sextiles at the beginning of this video, and the semi-sextile energy being that you've got the resources, but you just feel like you're too tired to plant the seed. It's just like you don't have the energy to nurture this. And you have such a strong house of love and romance right now. And it feels like you're not wanting to get out of the house. You're busy doing other things. You're not focusing on these opportunities. And so if you want love in your life, you have to put a little bit of water on that garden, and then you can get the flowers and trees and all the birds and bees. So this is, if you will take the action now, and you're going to feel disinclined to do it, but if you do it, then you have some possibilities here. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, the sun's making a conjunction to Uranus, which just was sitting with Jupiter, the planet of expansion. And so there is a lot going on in your love relationship right now. That means there could be a lot going on at home, a lot going on with the kids. You may feel overwhelmed by it. And so it's very important at this time that you treat each other with love and kindness and understanding and patience, because the two of you, while you are kind of, you're connected, you're together, you're like twins, which is great. But the problem is that you're not necessarily feeling like you have the energy to help each other, because you feel like you're back to back battling whatever monsters on either side. So therefore, it's to remember that your backs are touching, that you are fighting the same fight, and to support each other as much as you can, because that will really strengthen the relationship. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from both Neptune and Jupiter. Jupiter was just sitting on Uranus, so there could be that in this past 2 weeks, you've had a disruption in your income, or that you've had a brand new source of income become available to you. This is something where you do want to spend your energy looking at and trying to maximize. If your income has been disrupted, it means time to get out of your comfort zone, to go pursue other sources of income. The universe has not just closed a door. The universe will open new doors for you, but they may be outside of what you're expecting because Uranus is involved. And so therefore, think outside the box, which is something that you do naturally. And you will find that there are some really good sources of income for you. Now, when it comes to money from business and from investments, Mercury's not making an aspect with Neptune, but it's making a semi-sextile to Jupiter. So you've already heard my semi-sextile speech. It's time to nurture this, to give it some attention. And so that might mean, looking through your statements, understanding the fees structure, seeing if you should stay with this broker, see if you should stay with this investment or this group of investments. Looking at, the aspects of your business that make you money. Is your order process, has it been streamlined? Is it easy for the customer? Are you able to follow up with the customers and things like that? The small things are going to make the big difference and bring you the profits this time. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be like a paycheck, Jupiter's making a sextile to Neptune, and you are one of the few signs that is doing a good aspect, which kind of leads me to think that the economy may be doing a slide downward during this time, which during a dragon year, we tend to go up and down and up and down. So, but you are being seen as valuable to the company, instrumental in getting a project done or helping customers or things like that. So you have an opportunity to make more money, to sit down with your supervisor and talk to them about perks and things like that. And so that's what you should do, is plant those seeds and get those done, because this is a sextile. That's a very nice energy. Okay, Pisces, your sign is actually quite compatible with all of this Taurus energy that we're doing, because the Taurus is earth, right? And you're water. And so as we pour water on the earth, the garden grows. And so there is such an opportunity for you to take the resources that are there and build what it is that you want. But the thing that can happen is with the Pisces is the water is kind of a fog, and that gives you a vision of what you want, but sometimes you can live in the vision without, doing the practical stuff. And so I have experience with people who have that strong Pisces energy, and they can picture, that beautiful house that they're going to have, or the lovely relationship that they're going to have, but they're not getting out the door to go get those things. They live there in the future, without it actually manifesting. And Taurus is very practical energy. You want to actually focus on the things that you are doing rather than just living in the dream. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, the moon's not making an aspect with Neptune, nor is it making an aspect with Jupiter, although the moon and Jupiter are in the same sign. So there's something here, but it is like just the tiniest little seed, and that still could grow into something, but probably outside this 2-week period. And so what I would suggest is there's a lot of energy here about being in your community. And so as you are wanting a love relationship, consider like if you're going to go on a hike through your neighborhood. If you're going to do something charitable, do so in your neighborhood. And, go to local meetup groups, go to a local coffee shop, and see who you meet in those situations. And then as you go through this 2 weeks, and the moon energy will get stronger and stronger, and you will have some opportunities. But right now, the focus here is to just be in your neighborhood. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Mercury is not making an aspect with Neptune, but it's making a semi-sextile to Jupiter. And I talked about the semi-sextile earlier in the beginning of the video, as this, that you have the resources, but you don't feel like you have the energy to nurture those resources, to make them happen. And that can be that the two of you are so busy right now. And if you could muster the effort just to show your partner a little bit of love, that could really make your relationship stronger. It could really help it blossom. And this is very much around communication. So that would be if you just say the words they want to hear, or you send a little text, or put a note in their lunchbox, or something like that. Do people still have lunchboxes? So, but if you did that, it could go so far to show that you understand what they're going through, and it helps pour wonderful, healthy water on that seed. Now, when it comes to your money, you pulling money from Mars, which is sitting in your house of money. So you have that very activated, and all of that Taurus energy is there with different ideas and different ways that you can make money and people you can connect with and all of that. So the prospects are very good. The energy is, there is a Mars-Taurus energy, which is a natural semi-sextile. And so it almost feels like, have you ever said to yourself, all right, I'm not sure how to get there, but once you get in the car and you start going, then you see the landmarks and all of that. But from just sitting in the parking lot, you can't see that. And so this is, as you start to take action, you see the direction to go. Okay, I need to make an adjustment here. I need to make a change there. And so that can be even things like, go through the process on your website as though you're a new person and see how easy it is to navigate. Try out your sales pitch on a friend and see what they think about it. So testing out some of the things is a way for you to focus on taking action to make more money. Now, when it comes to money derived from business or from investments, Mars is making a semi-sextile to Venus. So again, more semi-sextile energy, more of, we have all the seeds and we're too tired to plant. And this is very much about, you have all these opportunities to have more money, but this says open your email, read through things, go through past, notices or applications or statements, look at what you've already received, and is there a contract that needs to be gone through, an agreement that needs to be updated, are there people that you need to call? Are there emails you need to send? So those are the types of things that can help you make more money in these areas. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be like a paycheck, Mars is not making an aspect with Saturn. Now, you do have a strong house of money, but there is a lot of indications from all the rest of the signs that we may be in a slump in the economy at this time. And because especially during a dragon year, you know, things go up and things go down, etc. So there can be some big swings in the economy. So we may be in that right now, and therefore you're not doing an aspect even though you show the prospects of making more money. So, and that also could be maybe your boss is away, maybe you can't get the meeting, maybe they just say, please wait until other things have settled down. So you have to be a little bit patient with this, but there are some possibilities. Again, I think if you can plant the seed and just say, hey, you know, when can we meet? And then they say maybe, oh, let's meet in June. And then you say, okay. So consider that this energy will line up better in the future. So you could also just skip it and focus on other money-making activities that can also work at this time. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're interested in learning more about your chart, I do readings. There's a link in the description, and I will see you in the next video.